And welcome back one and all, my name is Eltimar and we are going to be continuing our Let's Play of Torment, Tides of Numenera. Where we left off last time, we were exploring the Church of Truth. We're about to talk to Lan Uring. The thin young man smiles hesitantly as you approach. You notice a small metallic ovoid protruding from his skull, nearly hidden by his disheveled hair. The fingers on his left hand tap nervously on his leg as he speaks. I'm not a real priest yet, he blurts and blushes. If that's what you were thinking. Usually visitors only talk to me because they think I'm a priest, but I'm still a novice. He plucks at the threadbare spot on his robes. What's that implant? It's not just on my forehead, he says. Not just the skin, I mean. It's bonded with my skull. He blinks at you a few times before he realizes he hasn't answered your question. It keeps me awake and alert. I don't get tired until it runs out of power. What power is it? Dreams, he says. The scarier ones, the better. Remind me about it again? It keeps me awake so I can study longer. What's your area of study? What? He says, blinking, straightening. You want to know what I'm working on? Are you sure? Yeah. I'm designing an intelligence, he says, but not the normal kind. Not, just metal or with a dependent intelligent rigging system. No, it's larger than that. Stronger. Lan seems to be getting stronger, rising as he speaks. You hadn't noticed it before, but he's actually taller than you. The idea is this. An intelligence that can find, test, identify, and fully understand Numenera. We can unlock the secrets of lost civilizations. His eyes are gleaming now, and he raises a trembling fist. Do you understand? If we do this, we can break the chains binding us to the past, and turn them into reins which can steer the future. That seems useful. No one would get hurt testing Numenera on themselves anymore. Oh, he says, dropping his righteous fist. Clearly this benefit has never occurred to him. Of course. The fervent gleam slowly fades from his eyes. It's only a theory, though, for now. I don't have the funding. Not yet. But I've been studying machines with Min when he can spare the time, and he likes my ideas even if he thinks they're impossible. He looks away. I think he's disappointed I'm not a real Aeon priest yet. Don't you want to be one? Oh yes, he breathes. That would change everything. Only full Aeon priests have access to the Order's funds. I can use them to build a full prototype. Min might protest, but he'll understand once I get the device or design right. He licks his lips. They're dry, almost leathery. I just need to get it right, that's all. What do you need? You have to make a major discovery, he says, a mystery that's remained unsolved for a long time. But I spent too much time on my own research. He looks down at his feet. I haven't gotten anywhere. You know what? I will tell you something I've discovered, and you can claim it as your own. You will? He says, blood draining from his face. Is that allowed? Do you want to join the Order or not? I do, I really do. What discoveries have you made? What discoveries will help you? Really major ones, he says, looking frustrated. The causes of long-standing problems in the city, for example, or solving a mystery that's remained unexplained for a long, long time. When I find something useful, I'll let you know. Oh, alright. Let's just see what he says about this again. Okay. That is all he has to say. Let's go talk to the big boss, Min. This priest is tall, thin, and dressed only in black. Narrow slashes of oil decorate his unlined skin like armors in an unknown tongue. His eyes are harried, but alive with intelligent humor. They land on you with a tiny flicker of recognition. Then his gaze moves from you to Alagern and hardens. Oh good, no one shouted at me for hours. I've already said everything I need to, Alagern says, folding his arms. Anything else would be a waste of breath. What's going on here? You're looking at Min of Tan Liang, head puppet of the Order of Truth, Alagern says, jerking his head at Min, more interested in what this next shin is coming from than, say, doing any actual research. This may shock you, Min says, and it shouldn't, because we've had this talk before, but research into the Numenera takes time. Orth needs a quiet place to work, he needs food and a bed, and none of this is free. Min sweeps a hand through his dark hair. Like it or not, and I know you don't, the slave families demand cooperation for their shins. If we don't maintain the levy network, if we don't play their games, that funding goes away, and so does the Order of Truth. Maybe that would be for the best, Min. Min ignores Alagern's sort of approval and turns to you. Maybe, he says, rubbing his forehead, smearing the grease stains there. You know, I used to have time for my own work. It wasn't always... He waves his hands vaguely. Politics and dinners and polite requests. He gives Alagern a sharp look. We'll find the answers you're waiting for. I'm not asking for gratitude. I'm asking for patience. And with that, he turns his full attention to me. I recognize you, he says. It's been 10 years. I don't think we ever spoke. You were the one visiting Selimeri all the time, right? Working on some sort of organic machine technology. You're mistaken. I've never been here before. Oh, he says, frowning. His eyes still linger on you, trying to remember where he's seen you before. What brings you to the Order of Truth? Where's Orth Fong now? Looking into Alligern's problem, Min says, cocking his head at your companion. I think he mentioned leaving a note for you on his work table in case you stopped by, but he was in a hurry. Salamari told me there's a Vera spy in the Order of Truth. We think so, he says with an irritated glance at Salamari, but not because we've seen people in dark cloaks creeping around. Like you're wearing a dark robe. He lowers his voice, but not enough that the anger buried within it is completely hidden. We've lost dig sites to her thugs, maybe people too. We can't be sure because we never find any traces of them. He rubs his forehead with a stained hand. We'll catch the spy, it's only a matter of time. Tell me about your work, heh, he says, shaking his head. That's a big question even on the best of days. I specialize in mechanical Numenera, intelligent or not, but I haven't had much time for research since I started managing the branch of the Order. Tell me about your magical or mechanical Numenera. I would be incredibly grateful if you did, he says. Every other conversation I have revolves around how I'm ruining the Order, or not doing enough to save the Order. He rubs his forehead with the back of his calloused hand. Please, ask me about wires and blinking lights. Tell me about the machine behind you. It makes levies, the guardians of Sagus. He rubs his chin. Our records say that Diavetetsu found a similar device in the ruins of Archipelagia on the far north. He convinced the city that the local version, a modified one, would be of use. In order to become a citizen, everyone in Sagus Cliffs, even the ones born here, gives a year of their lives to the machine. It uses that, borrowed time to create a levy. What if someone only has 1 year to live? Would they die the second they enter the machine? No, he frowns. They never die in the machine, but it catches up with them a few days later. That doesn't happen very often. Sometimes I think the machine actually saves them, prevents them from meeting whatever fate was in store, but not always. At any rate, the levies created by the machine are nearly identical, and they only last a year. After that, they quietly return to the machine and dissolve into... His hands grip the air, trying to frame the words grey gunk. It's incredibly unpleasant to watch, but they don't seem to mind. They deserve more than a year of servitude. I don't know that they deserve anything, he says. They're not alive in the general sense. They don't ask for time off or complain about the cold, they just serve their time and melt away. Anyway, that's the machine. Any other questions? Trying to repair the resonance device. Your what? Min gasps. I thought that thing was a myth. And you're trying to repair it? Where is it? In a dome, in the Reef of Fallen Worlds. Really? He says, shaking his head. Amazing. Do you have any piece of the machine with you? No. What a shame. In all honesty, I focus more on traditionally powered machines. Salamari has some experience with organic machine construction. You might ask her about it. Let's just talk again. Let's talk about something else. Happy to. What is it? What is the Order of the Truth? Good question, he chews his lip for a moment, framing his words. We live on the surface of a vast labyrinth of layered ruins packed with relics and artifacts. Windows into the past. Some people are content to find them, use them, and sell them. He grins, but not the Order of Truth, not the Aeon Priests. We want to understand the Numenera, study them, point at them, and argue about them. Now, in the West, the Order of Truth is much bigger than this little enclave. It's a vast organization, led by the Amber Pope. Out there, our words turn the heads of kings. He shrugs. Around here, we occasionally get discounts on equipment from local vendors, and a free cup of tea. Not that I'm complaining. How did a chapter of the Order of Truth end up here? It was founded 300 years ago by a Vargelan nano named Diavetetsu. That's his statue outside. He governed, or you could say ruled, the Order with more force than you see in traditional chapters. He set us up in the spire, handpicking new members and choosing them for particular projects of his design. We're not quite that organized these days, he shrugs. For better or worse, leaders are chosen by consent of the other priests and priestesses, and they don't have a say in what everyone works on. They just deal with the politics and paperwork so that everyone else can focus on their ruinous side projects and hideously dangerous experiments. He flashes a grin, which is to say I'm the leader because I'm the only one who admits we need to eat. Leadership is a lonely path. I wish that were true, he says. I'm rarely lonely. People visit me all the time, usually furious and waving their hands. He sighs, but someone has to deal with the world outside these walls. The slave families, for some reason, aren't interested in funding wild, endless experimentation. They like results, especially weaponizable ones. So I review their requests, deflect the crazier ones, and convince my colleagues to work for a living occasionally. He nods at the nearby machine. We also create the levies that guard the city, though that's seen more of their responsibility as a favor than a favor these days. Good to see that Sagus makes scholars live in the real world. I agree with you on some days, others I'd rather be chasing a crazy theory. He shrugs. What else do you want to know about the Order? I saw Diavetetsu inside the Clock and Circus Minor. Your founder was the Changing God, or a cast-off.
Learn something new.
Min squints at you, then the ceiling. It's possible, he says at last. Deviatsu's behavior matches up the stories I've heard about the changing god, but he hasn't exactly shown up here to pick off where he left off. If you're right, maybe he just lost interest. Are there a lot of Aeon priests in Sagitt's Cliffs? Yes, but they're not strictly here. He says some out on digs or various expeditions. We only have a few Aeon priests in the city right now. There's Salameri, who I mentioned before. Beliezer studies biomechanical life forms. Orthfong is an expert in inexplicable and malicious architecture, and should be back soon. He pauses, ticking his fingers and furrowing his brow. And Snurf, of course, a visitant who's developed an interest in all forms of reproduction. It isn't one of us, and I don't think it wants to be, but we gave it space to work on its projects. He leans in. Don't go over there unless you've invented a way to scrub your memory clean. Also, Lang Yuring, of course. He's been educated in the Order, but he's still looking for a discovery that will make him an Aeon priest. Let's see if we can get any more experience or tide changes. Nothing? Okay. And that's it. There are many things to poke around with, but we should probably level up first. So let's quick save.
Yes.
We can improve a skill or an ability. Let's go with a skill this time. Oh no, we can't. We already did that. We can increase our stats, our edge, or our efforts. Let's do an edge. I would like an edge in intellect. Yes.
My understanding has increased.
We have one edge in intellect. This character's a talking character, so he's not really combat-oriented. This machine is a chaotic assemblage of metal tanks and tubing. A work table mounted with various spare parts stands beside it. It's connected by wires to an oddly familiar sarcophagus and other devices. Let's pick through the spare parts. You sort through the jumbled components on the table. There aren't many, nor are there any duplicates. These appear to be spare parts for the machine. Let's examine the machine. As it turns out, there is very little to examine. Every access point to the machine has been carefully sealed. Some of the hatches and panels are worn with use. They are likely accessed by the Order when they perform maintenance on the machine. Others are gleaming, ornate locks with twisted keyholes, unmarred by the scratches and nicks of careless everyday use. You run your hands across the surface and feel the ghosts of another person's hands doing the same thing. Let's do our thing. Anamnesis. We're gonna remember things. The memory opens like a gaping mouth and closes around you. Hot wind pulls at your robes, a jagged grit claws at your eyes. Squinting through the storm, you see the machine half buried in the sand. Curiously, you wedge open a panel. Inside is a sphere, sparkling like a jewel, but soft to the life drains from you into the sphere like blood from a wound. The machine is stealing your life. Growling, you return the favor, ripping the spear from the machine and regarding it with cold eyes. The memory releases you abruptly, leaving you panting in front of the machine, which is not the ruined monstrosity your predecessor discovered in the Archipelagian ruins. You know, however, the orb is sealed somewhere within this device. Let's examine it again. You wrap your knuckles experimentally on the side of the machine. The sound reverberates through the hollow space within, echoing in inaudible eternity. Knock again. I'm knocking it 1,000,000 times. Nope. Okay. Well, we tried, but didn't do anything. Let's examine this. Oh, we can't actually see it. This synth sarcophagus could hold a large human. Its surface is pitted, as if it survived a sandstorm, and the original color has worn away. The light that shines from within this strong glass chamber has a cruel and clinical glow. Its doors are firmly sealed. A mass of leathery flesh sags against the railing. Sharp probes are stuck in its skin, surrounded by festering sores that ooze a foul-smelling oil. Ew. Gross. What's this thing up here? And there's also Kellistage to talk to. She's here. A small wireframe pyramid sits on the base of polished wood. Lying inside the pyramid is a dull sphere of silverish metal. Let's examine this sphere. Suspended in its wire cage, the sphere is almost perfectly sized to fit your palm. The gaps in the wiry mesh are large enough for you to reach through, though not large enough to pull the sphere out. Let's touch it. You extend your hand towards the sphere. The thinner strands along the front side of the cage retract towards the thicker framed edges, creating an opening large enough for the sphere to fit through. Let's take it. You pull the sphere out of the frame through the opening facing you, and immediately begins to grow a scintillating blue. You pause a moment to make sure there are no other effects, then try to put it with the rest of your belongings. At some point during the motion, the sphere simply vanishes, only to reappear within the frame. Once again, a dull gray. Apparently taking the sphere will not be so easy. Let's examine the frame. The frame appears to be fixed firmly in place. It's constructed like of an organic material, grown in a manner similar to bone or coral. Thinner, vein-like strands around the material wind across each of the triangular sides. Something strikes you as odd about it, but you can't determine why. Who's good at perceptioning? You are. 90 is the top with him. 70 with him. Alright, it's you. Not you. You. 90 it is. While examining the frame, you try nudging it gently, and it shifts in a most peculiar manner. You focus on moving the frame in various directions and discover that it can be easily lifted straight up out of the base and lowered back down onto it, but it refuses to move laterally, even while being held in mid-air. Let's examine the base then. The base appears to be made from some slab of lurid red stone. On closer inspection, you recognize as a petrified wood of some kind. An inscription has been written on the base in front of the pyramid. What's it say? The inscription is in an alien language. It has been burned into the wood, then filled with a luminous substance. Though you know you haven't seen the language in your own short life as a cast-off, it still seems familiar. Looks like we're gonna go Animesis again. At distant memory surfaces, you're standing before a large metal cylinder that looms a meter or two above your head. The cylinder is a time capsule of sorts, and you're convinced that what lies within is critical to your latest experiments. The problem, alas, is that the capsule is locked, and the only clue to opening it is a series of strange glyphs etched into its sides. Glancing around, you see dusty tomes, faded banners, metal scraps, and dozens of other objects, all featuring the same strange glyphs. You spent a lifetime collecting every trace of this language that can be found, and decades of study have finally led you to this moment. You look upon the glyphs and know their meaning. Stepping forward, you reach towards the cylinder, as prescribed by the etchings, and it flares to life. Shaking off the memory, you look down at the inscription and realize that its meaning is now clear. The crimson dawn greets the seeker. The violet dusk seeks the search's end. You pull the sphere out again. Brilliant blue disappears. Take the entire device. The device is far too bulky to carry around with you. As if reading your thoughts, Min looks over and shakes his head sadly, while muttering something under his breath. Put the sphere back in. As you place the sphere back in the frame, it changes to a vibrant orange color. It occurs to you that the sphere seems to be responding to moving through the frame boundaries. Perhaps moving it through the other sides will produce additional results. Let's try the bottom. Shining yellow? Nope. Cool green? Nope. Dull orange? Nope. Cool green. Left opening? Lurid red. The crimson dawn greets the seeker. The violet dusk sees the search's end. So left opening was red, right? No, that's not what we wanted. Lurid red. Orange. Dull orange. Cool green. This is a puzzle that I'm not getting. Crimson dawn greets the seeker. Okay. The violet dusk sees the search's end. Red. Put it back in. A deep violet. Okay. Let's remove it from the back. Brilliant blue. Put it back in. So right. Nope. Indigo. There we go. Okay, so return it there. Put it in the bottom. That's shiny yellow. Indigo. Deep violet. Bright orange. Okay, I'm going to pause the video and play around with this a little bit, and when I figure it out, I'll show you guys how to do it. 1 second, I will be right back. Okay, I figured it out, so we're gonna just go do this. So, it's a spectrum. It's a color spectrum, so we go red first, and then we go to the right opening, which is orange, and then we go to the bottom, which is yellow, and then we go to the back, which is green, and then we go to the back again, which is blue, and then we put it in the bottom, which is indigo, and then we go to the first one, which is purple. So you go from red to purple. Suddenly, the sphere splashes with a blinding light. When your vision returns, the sphere is back in the frame, and in your hands is a strange object. We got a cipher called the Dance of Sharp Angles, which is summons a phased humanoid husk to fight alongside you and confers phased on the user, converts all damage to transdimensional and grants 30 evasion, 3 resistance, except transdimensional damage is increased by 100%. Also, I think my laptop's about to die. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back. My apologies, that's what happens when I forget to plug it in. Interesting things happen, like the screen begins to flicker, well not flicker, but
Yes.
There's a little Alienware symbol on the laptop that begins to flicker if your battery's about to die. Alright, let's loot this thing. We're going to take a book called The Abhumans of the Sagittarius Protectorate item. Sure, we'll take it. Why not? These books are piled haphazardly on the floor. They reflect a dozen areas of inquiry, most of which are entirely unrelated to each other. The meaning of these glowing screens is unclear to you, though a few seem to be maps or charts. They're ancient technology, predating the Order of Truth. This glowing display shows a globe. The ninth world, probably. Green lines depict trajectories that a ship could follow into the void between worlds. The desk is tidy and neat. The book is entitled Ecology of Biomechanical Hybrids. Is open to a sparse entry on the enigmatic Nycthemeron.
Alright.
And we're interacting with the thing. This desk is cluttered with scrawled notes, piles of paper, and worn books. The owner was either extremely disorganized or left in a hurry. Elegant steps closer to the desk. He growls in frustration. This is where Orthfong usually works. If you left a message for me, it must be here, somewhere. We'll examine it. Before you have a chance to examine the mess, Algren leans forward and plucks a folded note from atop the pile. Orth is a paranoid bastard. He writes all of his messages in code. Looks like this one is for me. He breaks the wax seal and scans the note. As he reads, his face grows tight with fury. Fong took my frame and left? He says it's not safe here. He wrote more about my tattoos, and he snaps his mouth shut. Never mind, he's not here. He glances towards the Aeon Priests. We could talk about it some other time. Let's look at the papers and stuff again. You rustle through the mess of documents and notes. Most of them discuss the buildings and architecture of prior worlds. They're filled with drawings and descriptions of bizarre structures uncovered by scholars and explorers. The owner of this desk seems to have been particularly interested in doors, door frames, and archways. He has drawn circles around all such things, but his scrawled comments are never more revealing than similar, but not a match. Could there be a connection here? Examine again. And again. And again. Nothing. Okay.
Of course.
I guess we're gonna leave. That's all there is to do in this place. We have finished all of our talkings. We have about 8 minutes left on this video.
Yes.
Some levies around. There is a thing we can go into right there. Or there is that doorway that we didn't know anything about. There's a ooh, there's something over here. Trash is piled against the buildings as if someone has been sweeping the square each day and leaving all the detritus there. Detritus. Ooh, there's people here. There are several people to talk to here, like Ayin who knows. This woman's expression defies easy definition. It's cool and professional, but focused, interested. She nods at you and clasps her hands. I haven't seen you in here before, she says, her voice is oddly muted. Before we begin, you should understand where we are. She gestures to one of the plant light structures nearby. This is the Red Thicket. No one can listen in on our conversation here. You can only hear me because I'm speaking to you directly. In other words, no one will ever know what you tell me now, in this place. She smiles very, very slightly. At any rate, have you come to trade? Trade what? I am a knowledge broker, she says. A hunter of information. Come to me with questions, and if I have answers, I will trade them. She straightens further and blinks once, managing to make the simple action look as though it was planned in advance. My pricing is simple. A secret for a secret. The only condition is that it must be one I do not already know. I should warn you that I know a great deal. How do I know you won't claim to know a secret you've never heard before? A fair question. If she is offended, she doesn't show it. But I don't bother with assurances. You can either judge my honesty for yourself or take your business elsewhere. Okay. It is a fair deal, but there's something you should know. Anything you choose to tell me will of course be traded to others in due time. A rare slight smile graces her lips. In short, if you wish to keep something a secret, don't tell me. Alright, I'm ready to do a secret. I want to propose something different. I'll trade you information for a secret you find interesting. A genuine pleasure warms her face. Agreed, she says. What do you offer? I can offer you secrets about myself. Would that serve? It might. What can you tell me? I was the falling star that appeared in the sky over the city. Her gaze flickers from your face to your hair, and then your hands. Interesting, she says, touching the air above her wrist. But far more interesting for you, I'd imagine, especially at the time. The side of her mouth quirks. Now, for your interesting secret, she traces the corner of her lips thoughtfully. The merchants, Felinda and Staristi, are in love and have been for many years. Felinda has never heard Staristi's voice. Let's go for another one. I will tell you a secret about my past. I am a cast-off. Yes, she says, you are. The tattoo is a giveaway. What else you got? Okay, not that one. The anechoic lazaret in the... nope, let's not do that one. We don't want to give that one away just yet. Is someone in the Order of Truth a spy for the Memo Vera? Yes, she says. I can give you a name and other assorted details. What do you offer in exchange? You know what? I'll do that one too. Her eyebrows rise halfway towards her hairline. Very useful, she says, swiftly tapping the air over her breastbone several times. Fascinating. Now for your information, Lan Ursing has been coerced into feeding information to the Memo Vera. It may be worth hearing his side of the story before you report him to his superiors. You made a strange gesture when I told you a secret. How exactly do you record all of your information? A good question, she says, raising her eyebrow, and one I will not answer, not for every secret in the city. Okay.
Why not?
Let's go deal with our little problem. And that'll be pretty much the end of our video. We're gonna go do the eye thing after this as well. Let's go hear your side of the story. I know you're a spy for the Memo Vera. How did you... He begins, clutching his trembling fingers. No, it doesn't matter. It's true, but it's not what you think. He sweeps the room with a terrified look and continues in a whisper. I needed money for my work. The order doesn't pay for anything besides basic living expenses. One of the Memo Vera's people came to me and me money for a favor. And offered me money for a favor, I'm assuming. I took it. Of course I did. But when they found me the next time, they didn't want me to make her study anything. They wanted me to spy on the order. His lips tremble. I said no, and they hit me over and over. Every time I woke up, they hit me again. They beat me until I said yes. Let me help you. No, he says, blanching. If they find out anyone knows or that I'm hiding anything from them, they'll kill me. They said so. But it's even worse than that, he says, eyeing you fearfully. I heard you talking about the resonance chamber with Min. I've already let my contacts know. I'm sorry, but they're probably already there. You'll be banished from the order for this. No, he says, please don't tell Min. I'm gonna tell Min, because now I'm annoyed. You told him of my resonance chamber, you jerk. Grow up, backbone. Lan Uring has been spying on you for the Memo Vera. Surprise washes the gentle mirth from Min's face to reveal the stone expression of the man who protects the priesthood from the plots of Sagitt's governors, the head of the Order of Truth. He turns to address Lan, but the younger man is already on his way over, stammering and trembling. I didn't have a choice, Min, he says, his eyes red-rimmed, desperate. They said they would kill me if I kept anything from them. Yeah? Min says, well, good news, you're safe now, because you'll never have access to the Order of Truth again. Pack your things and get out. Isn't it better to know who the spy is, knowing what they're trading away? Min opens his mouth, shuts it, gives you a thoughtful look, and turns to Lan. Get back to your workspace and wait for me. We're going to have a chat. Lan obeys, hanging his head. When the initiate is out of range, Min breathes a shuddering sigh and runs his hand through his dark hair. That was a good idea. I hate it, but it's good. Now, I do trust him to work with me, or feed him false... Now, do I trust him to work with me, or feed false information? Don't answer that. He says, waving his hand. My problem, not yours. He massages his eyes. Any other questions or revelations for me today? Farewell.
It's a plan.
See if we can talk to him again. I have some questions about the member Vera. Keep your voice down. Have you met her in person? Only the first time, he says, closing his eyes. I hope it's the last. You hear things about life in the Bloom, how ruthless people living there are. She's worse than anything you can imagine. What is the Bloom? He falters for a moment, his pleasure sharing information that fascinates him at war with his fear of the topic at hand. A city-sized predator near Sage's cliffs. The people live inside. Bad things happen there, and the member Vera is usually behind most of them. He shudders. You don't want to cross her. I might surprise you. I doubt it, not after what I've seen. He covers his eyes like a child. When I met her, there was a man chained to a table between us. One of her torturers, I suppose, was working on him, peeling his skin away strip by strip. He screamed and screamed, but... He rubbed his eyes. She waited for silence between the screams, never raised her voice, and she never explained what the man had done to disappoint her. I think she just decided to combine two appointments, mine and his. What's your opinion of her again? Frightening and ruthless. Why do you think her people came after you? It's not me. I'm nothing special. She wants control over everyone. He grits his teeth. I was just an easier target. Okay, bye.
All right.
That little jerk is a spy. I don't like spies. Unless they're my spies. I like my spies, but nobody else. We are pretty much out of time on this video, so I'm going to end it here. In the next video, we'll finish up with the last couple people in this district, and then we'll head off to the next one. We need to go down into the underbelly. Gotta go find a slave. What else do we have to do? We can't sleep anymore because we have to save that one dude. We could try and rally the people to saving risks. We'll try that. Maybe next time. For now, though, that's going to be the end of our video. Like always, if you have any suggestions or comments, please leave them below. It feels great to be back doing videos for you guys, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.